welcome to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 467. My name is John Morgan, and Cold Coffee is with me, or really, it's the other way around. I am with Cold Coffee because we are here in Miami, and I have made a stop off to his hotel room here, just out on the beach, man, overlooking the ocean here, getting ready for UFC 299, and man, this is one of those shows where I wish we had video so people could just see the contrast going on right now, because I have rolled into the room. I took a red-eye flight in from Las Vegas last night. I had to make a quick stop in Phoenix, save a couple bucks on the connection, to get budget conscious.
You know how you do.
And made the stop here in Miami to stop by and attend today's press conference before I head to Tampa for CFFC 130, and then I'll be back on Saturday for UFC 299 as well. But I've rolled into the room of Cold Coffee, and because it's his room, he gets to control the environment. And
you know how I do.
I mean, literally, you could hang meat in here, and it would stay good for a while. It's freezing, but that's not really the funny part. The funny part is we're sitting here in your room to record this, and you have on a tank top where it's 42 degrees in here at most. It's 42 degrees in here.
64 degrees.
You got a tank top on, bro, just sitting there chilling. Meanwhile, I have a hoodie on. I've got the door open on the patio, sitting by it, letting the warm air. I mean, there's probably gonna be a thunderstorm
you see
right
the condensation,
here.
On the window from the outside to the cold.
It's gonna rain right here. We have two fronts colliding right here at your door because you have the Arctic Northern coming out of that vent over there, and then we got the ocean breeze coming out.
It's like an El Nino effect right here.
I seriously considered just sitting outside right here, and we have headphones on with audio, and I was just gonna close the door like this,
and he just did.
And the door is closed now, but see, because the headset's on,
but you can't see me through the condensation on the door.
Through the condensation, but
I love it.
Oh man, how's Miami treating you so far?
Good. It's good to be back here in the birthplace of the MMA Roadshow.
It is.
Yes, people forget. Miami was where it all started.
That is true. Wow, that's crazy. I always forget about that.
It's
9 years ago, bro.
Dude, can you believe that?
9 years ago.
We had an awesome Airbnb in that one. I remember we sat outside. Besides the fact that we got eaten up by mosquitoes.
Eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Yeah, that was gnarly. That was bad.
Didn't even realize it was happening at the time. Woke up the next morning.
Alcohol and just talking MMA will do that to you.
Yes, it will.
But yeah, that was what a journey, what a ride.
9 years, man.
But no, man, I'm loving it. And it's funny, you crashed at you said the Admiral's Lounge, took your shower, came over. I literally woke up early, went to the gym, came back, showered. I was feeling warm. That's also why I'm feeling warm. When you get kind of swole, your body temperature.
He's like, bro, I'm cold too, but I'm wearing a tank top to show off these guns, son. I've been putting the work in them.
But I'm certainly not cold.
No. You're not. It's crazy.
Not at all. I'm barefoot. I'm ready to go, dog.
Oh, man.
But no, I love it, man. It's fun to be back here. And, got Mike's at Venetia, I think it is called, Valencia, the little dive bar right around the corner. So I've eaten dinner there twice.
Twice already? The night you got in and last night already?
Yep.
Beautiful.
I'm a creature of habit.
I love it.
She, the owner now remembers my name when I walked in. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm probably going to see you every time here. I was like, you're going to get used to it. She's like, well, good. I know what beer you drink. I'll just bring it over. And I said, oh, cheers.
It's
like
you're a
cheers.
regular
I was
already.
Like, I love this place.
That is a special place. I mean, look, you got to be comfortable with handling dive bar situations.
Yeah.
It's a little divey around here. And most people, when you think South Beach, when you think Miami, you're thinking,
I think they'd probably say, oh, South Beach is down the way. This is whatever or something.
I don't know where. Yeah, South Beach is technically like over there. I don't know what this is where we are. It's just like the hotel district.
We're in the in the Biscayne Bay. So I'm not sure if that makes sense to anybody around here or whatever. But yeah, I mean, as for it's cheap, it's close location. The food's actually pretty darn good. And yeah, I mean, they got PBR there. I'm like, I'll take it. You do have to get used to the aroma. There's a certain vibe when you walk in. In fact, when I ate there the first night, I was kind of tired, and I flew through Houston, but it was same plane, so it was one of those the things where you stay on the plane.
Oh, okay.
So there was like an hour, while there was the switchover or whatever.
It was like Southwest Airlines or something?
Southwest,
yeah.
And then came through, but it was still a long day. My flight left at 8 a.m. in Vegas time, and I landed a little after 5.
Lose the 3 hours, of course.
Yeah.
Got the connection.
So it just felt like a long day. So by the time I got there, I was tired. I walked over to Mike's to eat, and it's funny. I couldn't tell if somebody had puked on the floor or on the chair that I was sitting on. I was like, for all I know, I might be sitting and puke, but there is a strong aroma of barf in this corner. But then I proceeded to get the fish and chips, and then I stayed, and then I ate. You get used to it, and then you're just like, okay, I don't even smell it anymore.
You're like, it may be on the floor, it may be on the chair, but the PBR is cold and cheap, so I'm not leaving.
I was like, I'm good. I did eventually belly up for another round, but no. So yeah, I'm in my happy place, and it's funny because it's like I said, it's Miami, so there's definitely plenty of clubs and places to go, and you mentioned South Beach. There's definitely a lot of places where people are, going, oh, let's go here, let's go there, and I'm just like,
Nah, we're good.
I'm like, I don't want to hop on an Uber for 30 minutes to go pay overpriced prices just to say I'm doing it. I've been there, I've done that. And I was like, I'll walk 5 minutes to the dive bar.
It is a cool spot though. If you're looking to pick a spot to go see a UFC event, this is not a bad time to do it. And obviously, it's going to kind of be on the annual rotation now. They just came out with that. Say, you and I, as Vegas guys, especially, and with F1 especially, I don't know, these economic impact studies. I always wonder what the accuracy of them really is. But they said,
and especially when it comes from like a promoter,
sure,
then it's just like, okay.
So there was a press release that came out that said that they brought in $47.7 million in economic impact.
Yeah, take that, F1. F1 didn't even say that they showed the numbers.
Everybody loved it. It was all we know. That's all we know.
Trust
Everybody
us,
loved it.
It's going to bring this.
I haven't heard anybody say that, but whatever. But yeah, so look, I think the UFC and Miami are definitely happy to be partners together and put these on. But it is a fun show. I mean, if you do want to go out,
loves it. Yeah,
hit the beach, hit the clubs, hit the restaurants.
I think the beach is like only 15 minutes roughly from where the Kaseya Center is. Yep. So, I mean, like, it's definitely a unique location. I mean, the food's good. I will tell you, I remember last time we talked about it, means like they speak a lot of Spanish here. So if your grip on Spanish is not good, you might want to have a Spanish-speaking friend with you, or Google Translate, or brush up a little bit, because you will get some places where they give 0 Fs if you cannot speak Spanish. They're like, bro,
sorry, this is what we do here.
This is Havana.
100%.
Like, get with it, you know. So if you're willing to get over that and get past the frustration, it's a beautiful place. It's getting muggy right now. It's just into March, and I already feel like the humidity and stuff like going. Like, it's going to get brutal. It gets brutal. That's why you see people always have pictures of Miami. Nobody's wearing any clothes because it's too darn hot.
Yep.
You know, it's too muggy. So, but it's beautiful. It's very, very unique.
And you're embracing the culture.
I'm embracing the culture. I'm ready to hop into the game right now. Like, Vice City, let's go.
Let's go. I love it. All right, well, listen, we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of stuff going on. PFL Europe is about to start unfolding as we speak. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on that on YouTube this afternoon. That's their U.S. distribution. It's a start. I don't think that's where they want it to ultimately be, but at least we get to see it. That's kind of
better
what
than
I thought.
nothing.
Last time I just thought, why can't you put it on YouTube?
Yeah.
And I get it. I think you're a little bit afraid of a promotion to put something on YouTube, and then how do you sell it later and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because it's hard to control the property rights once you put it on YouTube, because there's so many things out there. If it's on YouTube, just like people say, if it's out on the web, you can pretty much get it. But depending on where you're streaming it and what you're doing, there's safeguards built into a lot of the applications that'll stop you from either trying to save it from the browser, that'll diffuse some of the browser plugins and stuff like that. You could usually still always sort of just do like a screen record with like QuickTime and things of that sort, but like on YouTube, on YouTube, like, it's there. Like, there's a bazillion sites you can go to that are built to just build it for you. Rip you an HD version of the video. So it's like, if you're going on YouTube, it's very, very tough to kind of control. You're essentially giving it away. So I can see where somebody's like, but on the flip side, if it's like, if you have people complain, they're like, you're telling us about this product that's going to be a big part of your portfolio, but us in the States can't watch it because you're not broadcasting. So are you telling telling us that this PFL Europe is just for the Europeans?
Right.
Or do you have to come up with an idea and have us watch it?
Let that go, where people just go, well, I don't watch that.
I don't watch it because it's not for us.
Yep.
It's obviously that's the European market.
Yep.
Like you got to embrace it right away and got to find it. So for me, it's very, very smart that they're actually finding a way to give us, because
I agree.
People are going to lose interest really, really quickly. Because if I can't watch it, they're talking about the Cedric Doumbé. I mean, this guy's blowing up over there, but it's like, if you're telling me I can't watch him fight unless you bring him to the States, like, why do I care about him?
Yep.
So
it's smart. It's not ideal for them, but I agree with you. I think they made the right choice here. It's not where they want to be.
It's a stopgap.
It's a stopgap to get them through. So that's going on right now. The Francis Ngannou, Anthony Joshua.
Is that this weekend?
That's playing out there as well. I feel like it's kind of getting a little bit lost in the mix a little bit. There's a lot going on right now, but and again, it's on a Friday. Worth pointing out there, it's not on Saturday. So if you think it's Saturday, you got to be ready for that. It is Friday afternoon. So just put that one on your radar.
DAZN?
DAZN, yep, it's on DAZN, pay-per-view. But I did see Francis kind of, I would say, out of character maybe a little bit of smack talk from him. I mean, it wasn't I don't know. It wasn't trash talk to Tyson.
No.
It's really accurate, right? Like, hey, man, don't come in here talking trash.
Yeah.
You're talking about you can beat me in a boxing match.
Bro, I beat you.
We're not talking about a fight.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a fight. You know what I mean? Like, in a fight, I beat you. You know what I mean? So,
like, I'll walk over and smash you and your dad.
Yeah.
Like relax. And, I mean, like, it's interesting. But, I mean, you kind of expect it. I mean, like, it was Francis's thing. The Furies want to push themselves into it to stay, part of the spotlight and just be chippy. And that's so paramount. It's just so used to the boxing thing. It just happens all the time. And everybody's like, oh, okay. But, bro, you start saying that to a guy that's used to, like, literally beating the shit out of somebody, not just boxing. Like, I'll kick your face off. I will knee your head. I will choke the breath out of your body. And you want to talk shit? Like, bro, we know what'll happen.
Yeah.
Like, chill out. Like, because if you want to go there, we can go there and you will lose.
Yep.
So I think with Francis, I mean, I think if he had any questions, whether there was like any self-doubt, and I'm sure there was going into the fight with Fury, that's all gone now. When he goes into this and he's fighting Joshua, there's no doubt.
Right?
Yes, he doesn't doubt himself anymore. I think he believes in himself, and I think that confidence is just. I mean, when you look at, if I was Francis and I was looked like that, was a badass motherfucker, like could fight like that, I'd be a little bit bold myself.
Oh,
and he's not. It's not even like he's going crazy.
No.
He's not being a dickhead. He's just being confident and he's saying his thing. So like when he snaps back at somebody that's clearly deserving, dude, I love it. I think the only part that would suck eventually is if he starts walking around like we see some of these big boxers that just like their shit doesn't stink. They're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Francis, don't go that. Stay.
Yeah.
Still stay Francis, because that's what we love, is that he's like this gentle giant. But when he switches, you're like, oh, my God, this is the baddest man on the planet.
Right.
But then he's also like one of the gladdest men on the planet. And he's just happy and he's jolly and he's enjoying his life and he wants to.
And he's fighting for like justice and stuff.
Yeah,
you know what
he's trying
to
push give back to his community. Like he's doing all the right things. It's like, please stay that way. Even keep getting richer, keep getting these great fights, but stay like that.
Yep.
But I don't mind a little bit more swagger coming when he's snapping back at guys that are, kind of jumping out of the line, because it's like, bro, like. You know what will happen.
I like it.
You know what will happen.
Remember,
we're talking about
a boxing match here, bro. We're talking about a boxing match here. We're not talking about a fight, because in a fight you would lose.
Because it ain't a street fight. Because bro, you would need your dad, and he would smoke them both.
So true, man. Hey, I liked it. I like hearing the snap. Look, I still don't favor him in this match, if I'm being honest with you, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna watch it.
I'm Team Homer on this one.
I think he's gonna.
Yeah. I think he's gonna shock the world.
Wow.
I think Joshua's gonna hit him and realize he doesn't have the power to take him out.
That is true.
Like he's gonna have to repeatedly catch big shots to like weather the storm, and I just don't think Joshua's gonna do it. I think Francis is gonna do a good enough job to evade the repetitive shots that will kind of put him in a place, and I think it's going to take a few shots, and Francis is going to shock the world.
Wow.
I think he's going to.
I like it.
I think he's going to. I think it's going to be. I'd say TKO.
Rolling home team.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
We're rolling MMA. Look, dude, nothing would make me happier, man. Nothing
cool
would
would
make
that
me
be?
happier.
Then he would try to call out the guy that's calling out all the guys, and it'd be Francis and Jake Paul after Jake Paul fights.
Okay, well, that's where I was eventually steering to, is that there's a lot going on right now, and there's a whole lot to talk. We haven't even
world just ruling the world right now.
Started talking UFC 299, which we have to, but how do you not look at this news that's coming out? And first of all, you know that Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, and Netflix know they got something when they ain't worried about the fact that, oh, by the way, there's a UFC pay-per-view going on. Oh, by the way, Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua are fighting over in Saudi Arabia. They're like, nope, we're announcing our stuff today. And you know what? Those are all big enough names involved. And I can't take away from Jake Paul. I know people don't like Jake Paul, but you can't take away from his ability to make news. Now, not necessarily to sell pay-per-views.
Because he just fought, last weekend?
Yeah, so this guy can keep the things going.
He's moving.
But Mike Tyson is a generational superstar.
Yeah.
Again, some people might have some things to say about his life and the things that he's done, but there's a sporting icon for sure.
Yeah.
And look, Netflix in their 260 million plus subscriber base, and now that they're getting into live sports and now they're getting into combat sports, AT&T Stadium, unbelievable. Dallas Cowboys home in Dallas, unbelievable. I'm torn on this because part of me goes, holy shit, this is crazy. Part of me goes, why are you fighting a 58-year-old? If Mike Tyson's 57, I think he's going to be 58 by the time they fight. Yeah. I mean, kudos again, and we've said it, and I'll say it again. Jake Paul and his team do a phenomenal job of picking the most relevant names that are the least relevant fighters right now. And I don't mean that as any insult to Mike Tyson whatsoever, right? But look at who they pick. This is very equal to fighting Anderson Silva, right? You know what I mean? Like where it's
it's bigger.
It's bigger.
Yeah, it's bigger, but it's like
a
guy that was a legend in his sport and that kind of stuff.
Past his prime. I think you're all right. And I should say it is way bigger, to be honest with you. But to link the sports together, to link where they stand,
100%.
and honestly, and if we're saying that's similar, I mean Tyson is actually 10 years older at that point, way further removed from his competing days.
Yeah,
so,
he retired when he was I looked up 38.
Yeah, and that wasn't prime. You know what I mean? That was not. I mean, obviously,
this is after the ear biting situation. Yeah. What did somebody I saw sat somewhere that said like Tyson like around the time when Jake Paul was born is like when Tyson got pinged for like biting Holyfield's ear or whatever, like his 48th bout or something like that. Same year he got born.
Well, it's so all right. Look, we don't know many details about it as we sit here. I mean, basically the news came out just as I arrived here in Miami.
I will say though,
got to be an exhibition, right?
It's got to be an exhibition. But the thing is, like, a deal with Netflix and all that doesn't happen in a week's time. No. Jake just fought a week. Like this had to have been in the works for quite some time, and I can almost see where maybe they thought like, all right, everybody's paying attention to boxing this weekend, everybody's paying attention to the UFC. Jake's kind of attached to the UFC obviously from fighting past things, but also his history with chatting up Dana and talking with the UFC. So I could see almost where they're like, okay, there's a buzz, people are trying to take in combat sports this weekend. What better to release this news and let people just digest it so that it doesn't. One, I feel like people would just be like, oh gosh, here goes Jake fighting this old guy again, a guy that's been long retired, a guy that we're like, don't fight anymore, Mike. I wonder if part of them is saying like, well, let's get it out there, let the news be ingested, and then it'll get all the hate. It'll get buried away, so there won't be as much hate.
You are right about that.
Because everybody's immediately going to start talking about the boxing fights, and then they'll go back and be like, oh man, but now we got to go back to talk about Jake and them, but it's going to have simmered because it's been under the surface for like a week or so.
That's actually a really good point. That maybe that was their strategy. Like, look, we know people are going to kind of talk some trash about this, so let's get it out there. People are going to be excited about it, but then when it comes time to really break down the analysis and start hating on this a little bit, it's going to get covered up because they got other stuff to do.
Netflix would never do something like short-term notice. I guarantee this has probably already been like tentatively like agreed upon, or maybe already agreed upon a month ago, probably or more or something, and then they just sat on it, which gives me the thought that it was an exhibition was initially because if Jake would lose in this last fight, which there was no effing way. Oh my God, that guy was terrible, dude. Watching him like hit mitts in the back, warming up, and then when he got out in the ring, I don't think he even threw anything. He looked really, really bad. But I was like, if there was a possibility of something catastrophically going wrong for the Paul team, an exhibition fight could still happen.
True.
Because I want to say that Tyson a while back was like, hey, Jake, like I'll do some, whatever, when he was like calling out, doing the Roy Jones and all the other stuff. I mean, Mike wants to get his money. Mike's doing a bunch of stuff. I don't know if we're allowed to say, like there's a certain partially wrestling MMA organization that Tyson and his team might be getting involved.
I've heard that he might be talking about it.
I mean, so he's venturing out, doing all these little stuff. So I think he's trying to make these money. So I guarantee this has been in the works for a while. But yeah, I'm leaning exhibition because there's Jake. If you take him on his word, he says I'm only going to be fighting guys that are going to be working towards bettering his record and moving him up. A fight with Tyson, in my mind, does not. It only betters the reputation of here I killed the biggest, the greatest thing. But in terms of if you were trying to test yourself and do other stuff, maybe a proper boxer that hasn't retired 20 years ago.
At this
point,
it's
still Tyson that can still throw a good punch, a few punches.
By the way, every now and then you see he looks good.
See him pop. He can pop mitts, but
for how long? But for how long?
Exactly. And how's his defense up? I mean, if Jake's moving him around and Mike's not able to just stay still and have the mitt holder across from him, it's going to start tiring him out. I mean, he didn't look great in his last exhibition, so I don't know. I mean, will I watch it? Sure. I'll be streaming it somewhere, but it's just I'm happy that Jake's going to make money. I'm happy that Tyson's going to make money. It doesn't really mean anything for the sport of boxing, for boxing purists that are like, oh, we need to keep, eyeballs or whatever. It's not like it's bettering the sport in any means. It's taking it more towards a fight circus.
It's a freak show
sort of thing. It's a freak show
fight. It's a freak show fight.
But, I mean, it is what it is. I'm happy that Jake's making money. I'm happy that Tyson's going to make money. I hope that it's an exhibition because then people can just sort of laugh it off and let it happen, as opposed to saying like, Jake, you're padding your numbers with old retired guys and blah 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 blah.
And
blah,
I think, I think a lot of people are kind of worried that Tyson's going to look bad. You know what I mean?
He's going to look bad.
I was going to say, but so what? I mean, his reputation, like that dude, Iron Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
The dude is a legend. Was a legend. It doesn't matter.
I think with an exhibition too, they have a little more leeway to play around with the round timing and stuff like that. The amount of rounds.
Yep.
The minutes. I think that probably benefits Tyson as well. Like maybe they just say, I don't know.
We do 1 minute rounds with 5 minute rest.
That's my kind of boxing.
It's like inverse MMA, right? You know what I mean? Like you said 5 minute rounds with 1 minute rest. Oh, no. We're going to have the other way around.
He's just going to sprint for a minute and then sit for 5 minutes.
Sit for 5 and get ready. Tyson would be dangerous with that. Inverse MMA timing, Mike. Listen.
I mean, like a minute round would be dangerous. Because he can go for minute bursts.
For a minute.
But I mean, you start getting up to 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
That's going to be rough.
It's going to be rough as the rounds. I mean, even if they said 5 rounds, 6 rounds, the Mike we see at the end of that, I mean, the dude's 58 years old.
Almost 60.
Like, come on, So, if they want to do something, and it's like, I haven't been bitching that Floyd's going out and doing these exhibition bouts and making mad money, and his sparring partner, air quotes, in these exhibitions, they're making money. So, I mean, who cares? At the end of the day, I mean, I watch fight circus shit.
Of course.
Like, I watch midgets fight multiple dudes. Like, to me, I'm like, whatever. If there's nothing else on, like, I'd rather watch that. So I'm not mad about it by any means. Like,
what would you push
it's just
for,
kind
like,
of surprising.
4 rounds, 6 rounds? If you're Mike in his side.
I don't think that Jake would let it go any less than 6 rounds.
Seems like the less, right?
6 rounds.
I feel like Jake would probably push
rounds.
for 8. Mike would probably push for 4, and they'd probably have to land for 6. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just because at that point, it's like, what's the point? If you start getting, if it was 3 or 4 rounds, like, what's the point?
Right.
Because they're going to try to sell tickets.
I have to survive. Well, yeah, they got to sell tickets.
Yeah.
But and if you're Jake, the whole point is I have to survive your nastiness early on.
Yeah.
But then I know that I've got you after that because you're not.
Because he's Tyson by the end of it. I mean, I don't know. Just from seeing like different other stuff, he's just going to be a stationary punching bag at that point with defense, and then occasional shots back at him, and that Jake will piece the shit out. Jake's been doing a really good job of like pushing his guys in the corner and just landing his shot. He's got good hand speed. He's got good variation of his shots, and I mean, like, all he's got to do is get a tired Tyson up against the corner, and then he's just going to be piecing on him. Will he knock him out? I don't know, but he's going to land some pretty darn good shots, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't drop them if it gets to that point. Anybody tired when you're like your cardio's gone and you're just shelling up, can get dropped.
Anybody.
Because they're just in fucking survival mode at that point.
It's a freak show fight. We won't cover it as if it's a legitimate contest because it isn't, but it is something that we'll watch. There's no question about it. And it is worth pointing out, too, Netflix being involved. Now, I know they're making a push. You know, they did the golf tournament in Vegas. I think they did the tennis tournament was in Vegas as well, too, was it? Or was it somewhere else? Or not a tennis tournament. It was a match. I saw advertisement for it. I didn't see it. I know the golf tournament was. Now they're doing this as well. Look, I'm not saying that they might get involved in the UFC bidding, but it is good to see them at least dabbling in combat sports as well, because we've always said the big power players when it comes to the money out there, Netflix, Amazon, Apple, those are the ones that have the huge cash reserves and the huge subscriber bases. And so if they can start getting involved in combat sports, whether it be to bid for the UFC, whether it be to bid for PFL Bellator, whether it be to bid for one championship, whatever it may be. That's good.
PFL would be a great platform for that. I mean, because they already have worldwide distribution. I mean, that's huge.
It's exactly what I've always said. I think the biggest thing that the PFL is doing right is globally, like not trying to be like, hey, we're the US's brand. Like, let's go be the global brand. I'm telling you, if you can deliver primetime program where these fans around the world don't have to watch it at 4 a.m., I think that's a good thing. I know it's hard because you've got operations all over the world. I think that's where their biggest opportunity is.
Do people not like watching at 4 a.m.? Are the Europeans and the other worldwide people?
I do not think. I'm telling you, much respect. If you're a European fan, I have no idea how you became a fan, dude. Because I would be watching the next day. That's for sure. So one other thing I do want to say real quick about this, and we'll get to 299, of course. I will be interested to see at the press conference today if anybody asks about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. To Dana White. If he's there, I'm not sure if Dana's here or if maybe it'll be John Anik. We don't know. That kind of is a game-time decision at times, it seems. But I'll be interested to see if anybody asks it. And here's what I say. And you and I have talked about this over the years, but I always believe there's a right time and a right place to ask any question, depending on what you're trying to do. If all you're trying to do is say, I stood up there and asked the question, cool, you can do it. Get your checkers. But if you really want a real answer from Dana White on his thought process on this, you do not ask it today at the pre-fight press conference. You wait until post-fight. Even though the news is fresh and you might like to get it as quick as possible, you wait until post-fight where you get a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more openness.
Or maybe even at the very end of the presser or something. Like, I think if you lead with it before you talk about the event, he's going to get snippy.
I just don't think he'll give a good answer regardless.
Yeah.
Now,
if you probably won't on fight night.
If you happen to be if you happen to be fortunate enough to be one of the broadcast partners, that is going to get him one-on-one in the back, that's fair game then. But if you want a good answer, asking at the press conference is not going to get you a good answer.
Then you get the crowd involvement, and then if they start booing, if they start 100%. Heckling, then he's going to shell up.
So when I talk about time and place about things, and I think it's funny because again, you might want to, I asked him, but if you didn't get the answer, then what was really the point? So anyway, just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
All right, UFC.
But I asked him.
But I asked. Okay, great, and you got no answer. Perfect. UFC 299. Instead, this weekend, obviously, look, a lot of people saying this is better than UFC 300. I don't know, man. I still like that UFC 300 card as well.
This card is pretty.
But this card is damn good. You were at the media day yesterday. I know it was a several-hour-long affair. I actually watched your stream along the way. Internet issues along the way.
Garbage. I was switching between 2 or 3 different hot spots. It was bad.
Couple little spots where it hiccuped here and there.
I wasn't even trying to monitor chat. I was like, I can't even. I was like, if I was watching, I'd be like, what the fuck? But it's like, I get it, and I've seen it on other ones. At some point, there's no point even bitching. There were points where it got better. In fact, at the very end, and just we've been covering this sport so long. I've connected to the UFC office like a bazillion times.
Right.
At the very end, I think I was connected to the UFC office, so it maintained stability towards the end because the press room kept going in and out.
It is pretty funny because obviously we have been in so many places and so many situations that all of a sudden your computer connects to some weird ass network.
What is
You're like, what is that? Like, I guess I connected to that 8 years ago and now it's working for me. So thank you.
Yeah. So that's why at the very end, but that was like a last minute because I think I had a hotspot that wasn't working. My didn't do great. My phone wasn't so great, and then the one they gave us kept going in and out. And then I tried using the hotel open one, and that didn't really work out. And then I was like, well, let me just try the office because when I did the test on their office, it wasn't that strong.
Right.
But since there wasn't 100 people trying to use it, it actually maintained pretty decent towards the end once everybody cleared out the office. But I'll never tell the office that I was connected to them.
The stress of streaming, man.
Oh, dude, it's brutal because then people are, get your shit together, junkie, fix the Wi-Fi. I'm like, bro, I'm in Miami. It's like I'm not going on there and like hiring a line from the hotel and pay $2,000 to have a hard line,
right?
Just so I can stream something to you for free. Do you want to? You guys want to pay?
Then I'm in.
Then hey,
I will make the arrangements.
We will expense that shit, and I'll just put it care of all you mofos. So yeah, it's definitely one of the frustrating ones. But honestly, half the time I just tell people just hold on. The videos are going up right after or simultaneously. Like I know it might get choppy, but give me a second. As soon as I can, I'm cranking them out. Like, and I think I finished the last guy, within 10, 15 minutes after the presser concluded.
That's awesome.
So
because the way you shoot, you're actually. The archive is actually a record from your camera, whereas the stream is, it might be choppy. So even if the stream is choppy, that's not what you're processing. So
correct.
That's good to know for people that might be MMA junkie fans, and maybe they see a choppy stream and they don't want to go watch the video because they just assume it's going to be choppy again.
Yeah, the archive's always separate. So the archive will be like, there's no buffering, there's no whatever. And I can sometimes go back and actually color correct it in case the lighting doesn't look good. I'm one of the ones that I do like to try to color correct. So.
He's very professional about it, man. He's very committed to making sure the image looked good. All right, listen, you had a lot of athletes. I think 16 athletes, 18 athletes, something like that. A lot of the card, and there's a lot to talk about. But, of course, the main event, Sean O'Malley, Marlon Chito Vera, that's the one that everybody's fired up about. Sean O'Malley, I thought, I don't want to say he's short because he's not. It wasn't an incredibly long scrum, you know what I mean? He's got pretty direct answers, and I think he's pretty matter of fact. There's not a whole lot to sell here, I guess. He still doesn't really give any credence to that first fight. Obviously, I think now he kind of admits that he knows it pisses people off when he says undefeated or whatever, but he still is just like, hey, I don't really need revenge, or this hasn't lingered over me that I got to answer that back. I think it was a freak accident that happened. Now, whether you believe it was a freak accident or not, I mean, the man threw a kick and your leg got hurt. You know what I mean? That isn't a whole other thing. Meanwhile, you got Chito Vera, who, man, I think you and I were talking beforehand that I think there's like 40 media here from Ecuador.
From Ecuador, yeah.
That's insane.
They literally had, which they've never really done before. So while we were waiting for Piotr, even though he was ready to go, I was like, Kos, come on. He's like, guys, because they were supposed to do it after, but it ran long. Afterwards, they were going to do an all-Spanish sort of sit-down with Chito just because there was all these media.
Right.
They sandwiched it in since time was running long. They sandwiched it in, even though I was like, Piotr was ready to go. I was like, come on, Kos, let us English guys get out of here, and they can go as long as they want.
So he did full English
and
full Spanish.
And then came back, did a full Spanish before Piotr did, and that was like another 26 minutes, another 30 minutes. So good for them, but that was like the first time that I can remember, and the first time that I think somebody even mentioned that the UFC did a separate presser on the media day, or separate media day in a sense, to accommodate all these media. But I mean, if that many came out, I mean, like,
they deserve it.
And it's funny because it drives me crazy when media starts like cheering, but when he walked in the room, there was a quick little pop. Like they were like, Chito, and it was like, oh, come on. I want to be like, settle down. It's
their guy, right? You know what I mean? It's their countryman, and I get it.
I just imagine every time a U.S.-based fighter walked in, if the U.S.-based media would just start like, wow, like, because I mean, honestly, like, we're supposed to be non-biased. We're not, supposed to. But I think we generally like everybody that goes up there. But it's just kind of
Dustin Poirier, Kevin Holland,
my man,
Curtis Blades,
yeah. Song, nah, man. You're kind of here now, but I'm mixed between you, brother. It's just, I mean, I get it. You travel, and like Brazil's another one where if you go in Brazil, like they don't give an F. Like they literally will cheer their person and just like mean mug the American fighter.
It is weird. Like, I don't think either one of us is like judge guy. Yeah. It's not that, but it's just like, guys, think about it. What we're doing here.
It's fun. I mean, it's funny. It's funny because I can sit back and laugh at it because you've seen it happen so many times, and it's just the whole. They don't care that I'm openly cheering. It's like nobody ever told them like, hey, by the way, we try to act like we're not rooting for one fighter over another, try to be present. And they're just like, no, this is our guy. Dude. This is our
that's
dude.
Our dude. He's putting our country on the map. Sorry. We don't care about you. We don't have a whole lot of guys.
So it was cool. I mean, but it was really, really neat to see that many people in the room.
Chito is a dude that we have loved for a long time, man.
I was glad. I feel like he's getting his flowers. Like he's doing,
really
he's getting his shit, and he embraced it, So, yeah, I mean, it's cool. You can't hate on on it because it's Cheeto, for Pete's sake. Like, if it was not Cheeto and it was somebody else, we're like, gosh, why are we here? Because then we joked after it. He was like, because he came over because I was teasing him, and he was like, the French media now want to do a French with Benoit. I was like, no! And he's like, gotcha. And I was like, you motherfucker.
In fairness, though, when I used to make the trip down to Brazil a lot, we would ask the Portuguese-speaking media, like, hey, is it cool if we just do, like, 5 minutes of English real quick just so we don't have to, like, go edit and go back and forth.
I remember even on the post, we used to like have a separate like scrum. We were like, can we just take the English ones that can do English over here, and then they can run over there and just chat?
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of them, I mean, like they'll ask questions, but by the end of it, they're just literally jab, just like who in Holland, like like. So what's going on? What are you gonna do next? Blah blah blah. Like talking about family and other shit. It's like, bro, let's just end this. Like, can we get in and out? Remember the job thing. Remember why we're here. And then you can just, like, talk or whatever. But, yeah, I do remember, like, we're just, like, it'll be 5 minutes. We'll get the English done, and then you guys can talk for 30 minutes.
2.5-hour Portuguese.
Because a lot of times when people are on site, whereas just like I was saying, like, if the stream's buffering, I'm processing that video, and I'm trying to push it up and be done with it. A lot of other outlets will sit on it and just wait later. So they don't mind chatting for 30 minutes.
Right.
Where I'm like, let's
get this
done, dog. Like, let's do this. So it's very different. It's different. And I try to realize that maybe that's the way that how we tend to address work. Like maybe that's why everybody's like, Americans stress too hard. They work too hard. They're stressing too much, where others are like, bro, relax. Work will get done. Let's just have some fun. I don't get often the chance to see Cheeto.
This is my guy fighting for a world title.
Just relax, bro. Like, I'm gonna chat. Go back, have another dessert. Like, and then come back. I'm just gonna chat a little bit more with my boy Cheeto, and then we'll get on to that Jan guy. It's okay.
You think you'd be okay if somebody's like, bro, just go have another dessert?
The little key lime things are good, but no, I would be like, man, F you. You call me fat? No, I'm going to go sympathy eat in the back.
All right, let's talk about the fight.
The food was not great yesterday.
The food was not great?
No, man. Like they had some beans and rice. I thought I was in like Brazil. I was like, okay.
This is the hard-hitting stuff.
This is what you guys tune in. The fish was kind of dry. The chicken was kind of dry. But they did have these like little Cubano sandwiches. Like they'd sliced up, and that was actually pretty legit.
All right, solid. That's really the hard-hitting report
that
we're looking for right there.
And the dessert, they had a flan that was good.
The Cubano sandwiches and the flan were good.
And the flan and the little key lime little tart.
Got to get a little key lime while you're down here in Florida, right?
Add 2 of them.
Go have another dessert.
Go have another dessert. We're going to talk to Cheeto time.
All right, time. What's funny is last week at the Apex, they had like bags of Cheetos over there, and I thought they missed the boat because I thought they should have had sugar cookies next to it, and you could like make a pick between like sugar cookies or Cheetos for your snack.
Well, Dana, I know you're listening to this, so can you tell your PR people to do that?
We got to get in on the marketing.
Yes,
we got to get on the marketing side of this.
Yes.
Yeah, last week I thought that was a missed opportunity.
That's fine.
All right, so the fight itself. What's your thoughts on this, man? Because I haven't had a chance to really talk to you about this one. Because I've broken it down a couple of times. Got a chance to do a couple guest spots this week. So
I saw that.
Yeah, did a couple of them, man.
I saw you were on the Unfiltered, and I saw you were on your thing that you do with
Gianni. I got to do Gianni.
I did
Gianni and Nick Kalikas as well. Did
what
that
is that
one as
for?
Well. For the gambler's perspective on UFC Fight Pass as well. Plus, Cage Side with John Morgan and Grassley. This is my fourth podcast. If you're tired of listening to me, I want to apologize. I totally
this is the original. You got to listen to this
is
one.
Where it all started.
Should I talk like Yanni? Did he smile at you the whole time? Were you blinded? He's like, John, I want to get your thoughts, but first, how are my teeth?
He was a very kind host, and I feel
I'm sure he's a great guy. I just love his voice is just so Yanni unique. It is just ridiculous.
It is pretty
amazing.
And
his overly white teeth. He's like, come on, have a seat.
You think he's had some work done?
No, it's all natural. It's a natural color. It's made in nature.
They were so nice to me yesterday. And
no, that's awesome. No, it's all fun. I like Johnny. I don't mind Minty Bets either.
She was not there. She was. Maybe she was there.
Well, that's a shame.
That was. No, that's the on. That's on the line. That's on the line. That's a different show.
Okay.
I think if she does that show. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of me going around out there if you cared to see it. And if you're tired of hearing me talk at this point, I apologize. So, I want to get yours.
I bet they don't torture you and put you in cold rooms. See, that's why you tune into this show, because we torture them. We make it cold as hell.
It's freezing in here. I'm literally about to step back outside.
I like my Yanni impression. He's like the only one I really like.
Oh, man.
Because he's so ridiculous. His voice is so unique. It's ridiculous.
He
but he seems like a legit dude.
No, he was a super nice dude.
Remember that one year he had was that 2 years ago? We had a really rough year and everybody was kind of really
piling on him, picking on him.
Yeah. And then he kind of turned it around. But it's funny because, they were piling on him. Then all of a sudden we started seeing minty bets. We're like, uh-oh, they're getting rid of Yanni. But he's still, I think he rebounded.
He's, there's one thing and I actually pointed this out to him on the show as well. There's one thing that he does every now and then that I think is so smart. He'll be like, dude, break down the analysis. Because the bottom line is, look, he looks at fights differently, right? He looks at, 100%. Numbers and stats versus, we're talking about, but what about the grappling? What about the, he's like, no.
He reminds me of that was the money line.
Or the
money ball, where it was like, I was like, it doesn't make sense, but it's working. He crunches numbers that nobody else looks at.
In this stat, it's this stat. And so he really looks at stats like that and trends versus, we look at, the matchups themselves and how the two fighters come together. But one thing that he does that I do actually find very useful is he'll say it sometimes. He's like, look, get your analysis there. He's like, cover the names up, and just look at the stats. You know what I mean? He's like
take your heart and emotion out
of it, right? Because it's so hard.
Yeah.
I used to say, I feel like I do much better picking prelim fights because it's the newer guys into the organization. And at that point, I'm literally just looking at, okay, I've seen their tape, I've watched them fight, I know how they perform, et cetera, and I can compare it. Once you start talking about, like I was telling him, I was like, look, you think I'm picking against Dustin Poirier this weekend? I'm not picking against Dustin Poirier this weekend because I love Dustin Poirier. Chito Vera, I give Chito Vera a ton of chance to win this fight. Am I giving him that chance because of my heart? You know what I mean? Because I love the guy? Or is it because I really – so, anyway, I thought that was good. I think that's a good little tip that he gives to people sometimes.
So you're saying you lean towards Chito and Dustin on this?
So, well, that's what I was going to ask you. Because, look –
I would be opposite of you.
So you went Sean and Benoit?
I did.
Wow. Okay, so
I did.
I went,
and that was tough because I love Dustin, and I mean, obviously I like Cheeto a lot, but man, I think I don't call I by no means think that first one was a fluke. I just think Sean's fighting on a really good level right now, and he's got the swagger. And I love it that he hasn't got so out of his head talking shit this week, and he's just kind of still sort of been quiet, if you will. I just think it's I think he's just fighting really, really good right now. Cheeto's fighting really good too, and I would not be shocked or surprised if Cheeto goes out there and does what Cheeto does and takes the belt by any means. And the same thing with Dustin. Dustin's as tough as nails, but man, Benoit's just he's fierce, man.
Focused, driven.
Yeah, and I mean it's tough because I mean that one. If I was torn more on one of those particular fights, I'm more torn on the Dustin Benoit. I know that feels weird because I think people feel that the Cheeto and O'Malley's closer, and probably on paper it is. I feel that Dustin's toughness. Benoit hasn't fought anybody like Dustin. I mean, I think it's just he's another level of toughness that. If Benoit doesn't get immediate payback, sort of return on what he's invested in that fight, if he starts slowing down, if he stops pushing, Dustin doesn't slow down. Dustin doesn't stop until the end, in 5-round fight, man. That's crazy. I mean, that's, five rounds.
That is a huge
difference.
Man. That's
it's
a big difference.
It's a huge difference, and I'm sure Benoit's fought 5-round fights. Was he a title holder in another organization?
I thought. Well, I was looking at the odds. You're right. To be honest with you, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I was a little surprised Sean O'Malley is as big of a favorite as he is. But man, Benoit Saint Denis is not that far behind. He's a big favorite.
In terms of the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at. If I look at let's see, DraftKings.
I wonder if the line moved.
It might have. Sean O'Malley's up to. Well, yeah, gosh, Sean O'Malley's getting bigger by the day. Wow.
What is he at now?
270, 280.
Wow.
Yeah, whereas Benoit Saint Denis 205, 210. I see a couple 230s.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't
think it was that big.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I don't know. I mean, it could clearly. I can be absolutely wrong and skunk both of those picks, but man, I just feel like, man, we know what O'Malley's grappling game. If the fight gets to the ground, I mean, like his ground game is just ridiculous. He's so good. And, I mean, I haven't seen that leg cause any issues like any other point, you know. I mean,
Sean reminds me a lot of Anthony Pettis back in the day, where, like, Anthony was so good at jiu-jitsu that people forgot about it because his striking was so dynamic that people wanted to see that striking. And obviously Sean is a sniper, man. He's a great.
That's a really good comparison. Like Pettis in his heyday, like when Pettis was at his highest, when he was just like you didn't know what was going to do. You're right. I mean, I think people forget that O'Malley's entering like grappling competitions and like doing really, really well. It's going to be interesting. I think if it gets to a ground game, I think that'll be the difference between the two. I mean, it's not that like Vera is a slouch on the ground by any means. I mean, I think he's more attuned if the fight stays standing to kind of do some damage. But Sean loves that sort of thing. I mean, I think he'd be more than happy to keep it in that fight. So, and you got to take it. You got to take it from the champ. You got to win the belt from the champ. You know. So I mean, he's in the sense he's got the odds in his favor because the judges are going to be leaning. You know, whether they admit it or not, it always feels like they're leaning on the champ anyways. But that Dustin Benoit, man, I would not be sad if Dustin, but I mean, that's one of the ones I would kind of embrace being wrong because I want Dustin to win, but, you know, just like what Yanni said, taking the names out and just looking at how they're fighting right now, Benoit's, you hate to say it's his time, but I mean, like, the dude's on his way up.
There's a changing of the guard. There always is.
That's it.
It is unfortunate. Yeah, and I agree. So,
and they need like these Europeans. Like, here's a French guy here that's like, the market's rating like Paris need. They're just dying. They're like, please, and the UFC's as much. I know the UFC loves Dustman. I guarantee they're licking their chops like, please,
let's get this guy.
Let's get this guy because we can take him over to Paris and we can put on a big event, and this guy could. I don't know about a headline, but
a fight night maybe.
A fight night.
Yeah, a fight night.
Not pay-per-view, no, but a fight night.
Not
I can see that.
Not a pay-per-view yet. He's not there yet, but
a fighting a guy like Dustin Poirier, I mean, that's you're setting yourself up because I mean that could have been a fight night headline.
100%.
You know,
pay-per-view main card, fight night headline, easy. So yeah, could definitely do it. Listen, I said for the main event, I think my head is telling me Sean O'Malley, my heart is telling me Chito Vera. You know, Chito's got that dog in him.
Yeah.
Fighting late. You know, if he can survive the early onslaught from Sean O'Malley, you know, maybe he can rack up some rounds late.
He's tough as nails. If he starts breaking down Sean's legs again, when Sean can't move.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
And Dustin, you know, again, 5 rounds. In a 3-round fight, I probably wouldn't like his chances. In a 5-round fight, I do like his chances. But, yeah,
you're right.
It's a hard pick.
Because, if it starts getting the 4th, 5th round, I'm going to start like, fuck, did I pick the wrong way? Did I pick the wrong way?
And, by the way, let me just say, man, if Sean O'Malley does find a way to beat Chito, especially impressively, and then if he's able to go out and beat Merab, which is certainly no given because Merab is a tough matchup for anybody, I just think at that point, if you're a doubter of Sean O'Malley, it sounds like there's still a lot of doubters out there that say that, you know, he's not real. I mean, can you imagine if he runs off Jan, Sterling, Vera, and Dvalishvili in 4 consecutive fights? I mean, that would be one hell of a run. So
I'll tell you, I'd be picking Merab in that fight.
To be honest, I probably would too, man. Merab is just different, man.
Just like when we were saying like Benoit, not that like Sean's like the established guy, but Merab has established himself. He's future champ material for sure, and I mean he's right there on the precipice. I think if he gets that next shot, if Sean's able to hold on to it for this weekend.
But he got clipped by Cejudo. What if he got? I mean, if he gets clipped by Sean, is he going to be able to recover like that and keep pushing?
Sean's clipped people before too. It's not like he's just swelled in immediately, you know, rushed in to finish him. But I mean, like, I don't know, but I'd still lean him around.
I love it.
Still lean him around.
Big fights.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland, Michael Page.
That's a good
Which way did you lean this one? Because I'm torn on this one. Because listen,
I know.
I think that Kevin Holland has everything that it takes to beat Michael Page, right? The only thing is, I don't know if Kevin Holland will use everything that it takes to beat Michael Page because he likes to entertain so much. That I think he's going to want to go out there.
Did you hear what Paige said at the media day yesterday? He's like, because they asked him about he likes to talk.
Oh, he said we're going to have a live
podcast out there. I was like, nice. I like it.
Dude, Michael Page, man, first of all, it's so cool to see him.
He's gotten better.
He's so good, man.
He's so good. I like what we're seeing now that he's came over because he's enjoying himself.
Yes.
He's not that he's became modest, or I think he's appreciating the change of scenery and everything that's came with it, and he's just happy. He seems very, very happy. Whereas at some of the other places, he was just more. You saw the bold personality and what he's able to do. Now you get to see some of the, I don't know, some of the humbler side of it.
You know what I think it is I feel like with Bellator, he felt like it was his responsibility to carry the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that comes with a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And he reminds me a lot of Israel Adesanya in like the way that like it's not just enough to get a knockout. I got to get the knockout and then hit the pose and then you know what I mean? Like everything has to be like creating the iconic
Where's
moment.
Where's my Pokeball?
Right? You know what I mean? Like everything has to be about creating an iconic moment. Like for guys like them, it's not enough to just like, dude, just knocking another human being out should be enough, right? But no, you got to do it and then hit the pose.
I'm gonna destruct your orbital and then let me go get my hat, let me get my Pokeball, and I'm gonna roll it over.
And so I think that probably wore heavy on him because I agree with you. I felt that same energy, just not in the room, but obviously I was watching the stream yesterday from home, and I felt the same energy where it's like this is a guy that's just relaxed, like
relaxed.
Knew he was going to be here, and now he's here.
Appreciative. He was like, he was so appreciative of all the difference. Like he just looked like he was like, I'm finally here. You know, he breathed easy. He was just very respectful. But man, I love Kevin Holland.
Yes.
So I leaned towards
Holland.
Went Holland? I went Holland, but I need Holland to show up. Some people thought that he was kind of like sort of dry yesterday, and that they were sort of maybe attributing that to maybe a harder weight cut. I didn't really see it because I feel like we've seen him other times where he's been more affected with like dry chap lips, like really gaunt face. I didn't see that, so I guess maybe I should be worried that we didn't see that. Like how far along are you in the cut? But looking at Michael looked really good too. So I mean, like they still had a whole another 24 hours before they need to hop on the scale. So I'm not gonna, lean too much in that, but. I think Holland, if he shows up and does everything that he can, I think he is more than capable of winning this fight. So I lean towards Holland just because we've seen him on this stage of these big fights so many times. Page, and while he's fought in major organizations, it's his debut. He's going to want to try to go out there and prove a point. And Holland's a tough ass to do that against. We see, for Pete's sakes, we saw Holland knock somebody out from his back.
It's crazy. Like,
it's ridiculous the power he has in his hand. So it's just, he's got to stay focused. I mean, hopefully Page doesn't take him out and get him into his head talking this game. We've seen Holland sort of get distracted in these fights, talking to guys outside of the cage. Yeah. And you're just like, bro, stay focused. You got a guy right there in front of you trying to kill you.
That's why I kind of wonder if you like Holland in this spot, if maybe you almost look at his energy and demeanor the other day as a good thing.
Yeah.
Like he's not letting himself get too far involved in the sheer entertainment value of stuff.
Well, people brought up too, because last time he was jawing at dudes during the fight week, and there was almost a fight. Remember, Dana got mad at us because we wanted to start asking about what was going on with Holland.
That's not even the fight.
Like, that's not even the fight. That's not even doing this, doing this. And it's like, okay. So maybe he was just like, all right, I'm not going to let what happened last time. I'm not going to get out of my head. I'm just going to stay focused on this. I'm not trying to be a media day story off to the side. Let me just get in here and do stuff. And I think he realizes too, he's got a former champion across the way from him, and he doesn't want to make this debut any easier and like take everything from him, because he literally would steal Holland's clout if he's able to come in here and take him. Because then at that point it's like, okay, then we're just gonna rush him into the top 10 at that point. So I think he doesn't want to give up that spot, but it's also another good spot too, where it's like everybody realizes Page is coming in with so much hype that if Holland's able to go out there and finish him in a nice dramatic fashion, he's like, y'all were already looking past me.
Yep.
So maybe he's carrying that chip on his shoulder. Maybe we saw a little bit of that the other day where people are already like, okay, you're talking this new guy up and you're already saying how he's going to be a future champ and all this other stuff, but he's got to go through me. Like, if you're going to disrespect me, I'm just going to come out here, I'm going to answer some questions, and then I'm going to go do business. So I hope he stays focused. I hope he stays serious. Maybe the fact that he's going to have a dance partner, we're talking shit in there, that it's not going to, we don't have to weigh in, like, is he not paying attention or is he not present because his opponent's doing it. Maybe it'll actually bring something out where he's at ease out there. Both guys said that they've had history in Kung Fu. Maybe they'll just flow with the moment, and just kind of give us one of these amazing fights that people are just like, dude, that fight stole the card. Like, you never know. So, but I'm leaning Holland. I mean, like, we've watched this guy for so long. I just love his story. I mean, nothing wrong with Page, but yeah, I mean, if I had to homer when the two guys walk in the room, I'm Team America on this one. I have no problem with the Team UK guy. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Holland in that one.
I kind of lean towards Holland as well, but I think Michael Page has everything it takes to win the fight, and I think if Kevin Holland,
huge, he's big too.
Yes, he is.
I mean, not that Holland's small, but Page, man, it's been a while since I've seen him in person. He's tall, he's big.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah. Can't wait for that one. All right, here's another one where I saw Gilbert Burns as a dog, and granted, it's barely a dog. It's
even with that hair, he's like full Super Saiyan Brazilian mode.
Dude, that hair is amazing, man.
I love it.
Froed out.
He's so froed out.
Doreen Fro, you know what I mean? He's not Dorino anymore. He's Doreen Fro.
I like that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. I don't know, man. Again, it's essentially a pick 'em. So when I say he's an underdog, it's the slightest of slightest margins.
Yeah.
But I was a little bit surprised by that. I like Gilbert in this spot, man. But again, that's one where I wonder if maybe my my affinity for Gilbert Burns as a human being and my affinity for elite level grapplers, which I always tend to shade to.
Oh, do you like that grappling stuff?
I'm kind of a grappling fan. You know what I mean? So I wonder if maybe I'm leaning. So which way did you lean in this one?
I lean towards Jack.
Dude, we are split on this one all over the place.
I lean towards. I mean, I love Gilbert. I mean, I think if it gets to the ground and becomes a jiu-jitsu match, it's Gilbert all day long.
Right.
I just think Jack, man. I think the power. I think. I just think it's. I don't want to say it's even his time or whatever. I just think if he's able to do what he does, I think people know that he's got good power and he's got good hands, but I think he's just a smart fighter as well. I think he understands where Gilbert's going to be trying to come out there, and Gilbert's going to try to. Gilbert doesn't want to make it a boxing match. He doesn't want to make it
as much as he wanted to come out and brawl with Hamzat and all that. I think, and that's why I think why I like Gilbert in the spot too. Is like Gilbert is an intelligent enough fighter to know like.
Smart.
This is not the spot to like let's go brawl.
He'll strike to set up a takedown and then get it to the ground. So if Jack is smart enough to kind of keep distance and be able to keep it into a stand-up war, I lean towards Jack, and that's kind of where I was thinking. But honestly, if it goes to the ground, I mean, I think Gilbert has everything possible to take to win it 100%. It was that was just more. I don't know, because if I had to pick emotionally, I definitely would pick Burns, because I mean, who doesn't love Burns?
You got to, man.
And
Doreen Fro in the house.
100%.
All right.
That hair. I should just pick the hair.
Pick the hair.
I'm gonna take. Gianni would say, "Don't look at the fighter, just look at the hair." Lean towards the hair. The hair wins.
I'm so sorry, Johnny. I have no control over this.
I love Johnny.
All right, Peter Yan and Song Yadong. Let's see where if the
we're gonna be in the. Oh wait, where did I?
Which did you lean on this one? I want to see if our split continues on this one or where we stand.
But you said, did you? So you did pick Vera and Dustin?
Well, I yes, because Matt Serra, when I was doing Unfiltered, he was like, "Can you make picks?" I mean, I haven't been filing picks anywhere because you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Yeah, I can make picks," and so I did. So
let me pull my.
I'll be honest. I kind of hedged on the main event. I was like, my head says Sean O'Malley, my heart says Cheeto.
Okay.
So I guess I kind of picked Sean. I
bet we're the same on this one.
I said straight up, I'm picking Dustin Poirier because there's no way in hell I'm picking against Dustin Poirier. I kind of picked Holland, but said I'm worried that he might mess up on that one and let himself get baited by Michael Page. Gilbert Burns.
But if you're saying kinda, does that mean that you picked it?
I essentially picked Kevin Holland.
Okay, so we're the same there.
So we're the same on that one, but we're different on it.
We're different on the last one, but this one, I bet we're the same. I went Song.
Yeah, I went Song Yadong.
See, I had a feeling that we'd both be on that one. I have nothing against Yan. I think Yan is dangerous. He's super. I mean, there was a point when he was ruling the division, but man, Song is just fucking crushing it lately.
I think people are a little too quick to write off Peter Yan right now. I feel like a lot of people are trying to like write up the.
He's still tough as nails.
Yes, but Song Yadong just seems like he's peaking. Yep. He's the guy that's in form right now. You know what I mean? Like, he's the one that's in form right now. And, man, came in with the swag at Media Day, man. I mean, the blonde hair, the sunglasses.
And he speaks more English than Yan, so us American media are rooting for Song Yadong. And, I mean, like, once you go big and go with Yadong, how can you go small after going
with a small Peter?
Yeah.
Oh! Yeah!
Wow. It was there. I felt like I was teeing up something, and you hit it home.
Don't make that cupping movement with your hands, please.
Two-handed for
Can you turn your head and cough, please? Oh, it's so ridiculous.
That was good. But I leaned Yadong on that one. The next one,
Curtis Blades, Jelton Almeida. By the way, Curtis Blades was in great form as well. Man, he did not hold back, saying that Jelton Almeida is basically Damian Maia that's got grappling and no hands. I don't know that I necessarily disagree with that, although I think Almeida is a much better athlete overall than Damian Maia was. And I love me some Damian Maia, right?
Oh, yeah,
100%. I mean, how do you not love Damian Maia, the athlete? How do you not love the human being, the dude that he is? But, yeah, like, nobody was like, if Damian wanted to play linebacker, he probably could have. You know what I mean? Like, no. He is a jiu-jitsu player. Yeah. Almeida, you're like, bro, whatever sport he would have picked, he could have excelled at.
Heavyweights, they're a different beast, and like he's the new form heavyweight. He's not like a Roy Nelson, who I love to death.
Right.
Heavyweight.
No,
like, this guy literally, like you said, you picked football. I mean, like, he's a differently built heavyweight. You know, like he power, speed. Curtis, if it becomes a wrestling match and it's just purely ground, then yes, maybe I think there's some chance. But I mean, even a great wrestler against a high-level jiu-jitsu guy, that's a tough ask as well. I mean, like wrestling, they do good at like controlling positions and stuff, but you got a guy that's comfortable being on the ground, but he's also got hands. I mean, like, it's funny if he says that if he doesn't think Almeida's got some hands. Almeida's got power.
But, by the way,
we've seen people drop blades.
I do also love whoever that was that asked Curtis at the very end. It was like, okay, well, you said he's like Damian Maia. Who are you like? And he's like, I'm like Marab without the gas tank.
How can you not love that dude?
I love
Blades
Curtis
is funny, man. He
funny.
is a funny dude.
Low-key, because he's so dry in his delivery that I don't think people always appreciate it.
Yeah.
He's funny.
I think there was a point, too, like early on or a while ago where he didn't he was more quiet because he was more
self-conscious
about the stutter.
Yeah,
so like he didn't get the personality.
100%.
So he would just stop. Whereas now, like,
he doesn't care.
He got through, like, even the gas tank, the delivery took him a little bit. Once you got there, it was like, fuck,
it's hilarious. Yeah.
It was so good. And I was like, thank you.
He used to hold back. There's no question. He used to hold back.
So, I mean, I think now his personality, it's amazing. Like, I love that he's out there and he's telling jokes. And, I mean, how can you not like him? And, I mean, it's a tough matchup. This
I'm
is
torn
literally,
on that one. I can see that one go either way.
Literally, I mean, and looking at, I'm only looking at Tapology. I'm not sure whose ratings they do, but they have them 6 and 7. I'm not sure what the UFC rankings are, but these guys easily could swap positions with a win.
Yep.
But I mean, it's not a bad loss for either one of the guys.
No, this is a great stylistically. Yeah. I think it's a great fight. Caitlin Chukagian, Caitlin Sermonera, her married name now.
I didn't realize. At first, I was when Nolan
like
Nolan
King or something.
Well, no, I thought that maybe she went back to her name. I thought maybe Chukagian was a married name, and then I was like, oh wait, no, I had it swapped.
Right.
It's in fact this is her married name.
She got raw. She got raw.
Yeah, big time.
I think the stories are out there. She had a couple miscarriages going through IVF. As anybody that's been through that can tell you, man, it is emotionally difficult. And so it was, I don't know. Props to her, I guess, for being open and honest about everything and sharing it.
Yeah,
because
using
I think
the platform.
That's it. Using the platform to raise, people, for people to know that they're not alone out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For people to know that. Now, I hope she's okay. You know what I mean? Because to be like, to ever turn to fighting as something
as a mental,
to
fix as a mental break. That's saying something right there.
I mean,
like, I'd rather do something that literally people are afraid to do just to have my mind escape from what it was doing to
That's
her.
Scary. I mean, look, these athletes that do this, they're cut differently than we are. You know what I mean? They definitely are, man. They're made from something a little bit different. But hate to see that for her. Meanwhile, Macy Barber, she's out there, talking trash on everybody, saying Juliana Pena's just not that good of a fighter, and she wants the rematch and all kinds of stuff. So that's a big one there in that division for sure. Mateusz Gamrot, Rafael Dos Anjos, that's a big one there. Gamrot, a big favorite. Pedro Munoz, Kyler Phillips, the rest of the prelims. I mean, look, this card is going to be fun. I mean, we're talking about Joanne Wood and Marina Moroz as the card opener. These are two ladies who've been following their careers for a long time. We're talking about the debut of Robelis de España that a lot of people are excited about against Josh Parisian. Michelle Pereira versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. A lot of big fights. So I think you and I are both looking forward very much so to UFC 299. Anything else you took out of media day?
I'm not. I found out that the clock jumps forward on Sunday.
Yes, we lose
I'm
an hour.
not looking forward to that. Like, East Coast shows are already pretty rough. Luckily, my flight out is like at 10 something, so it's not as bad as folks like yourself. They're going to try to stay up all night and then hop on a plane.
Mine's not that bad. So, look, here's why the press conference tonight is happening an hour later than I thought it was going to happen.
Oh, news on that. Dana is going to be doing that.
Dana is going to be
there. I hit up the UFC. I hit up Koss over there, and he said that UFC or
Dana White is expected to be there.
Because sometimes, like you said, you didn't know if it was going to be Anik or if it was going to be Dana.
Yep.
It could be a twin Koss. Yep. Coin toss.
It could be.
Look what you did there. You're fucking it up, Kenny.
Twin cost. That's amazing. Yeah. So listen. So it's actually interesting. So I thought the press conference today would be at 5. It's actually at 6. My flight to Tampa leaves at 7:30. So we're going to be rushing to the airport after the press conference. CFSC 130 tomorrow in Tampa. CM Punk is back in the booth.
Yeah.
I think I heard that maybe Renato Moicano is still going to be there, even though he's not going to be on the call with us. I don't know if that still is true or not. But
that'd be a power trio there.
We love Renato, man. He did a great job last time out. But my Saturday is not that bad. So I actually picked a flight that leaves Tampa at 3:40. Arrives here at 4:46, and then media check-in is at 5. So I'm basically going to just go straight from the airport. So
as long as I can get straight to the table.
Yeah, that's it. And then my flight leaves Sunday morning at 7:05 a.m., which is essentially 6:05 a.m. because we lose an hour. So
you just got the small luggage.
Yeah. So I don't think I'm going to be exhausted. Like I think I'll be, you know what I mean? Like I'm not going to have that many hours to kill. I'll have to get the and a half done for everybody over at patreon.com/the MMA Roadshow. But maybe I'll do that from the bowels of the is it Kaseya Center?
I always say Kaseya.
Kaseya Center. So I don't think I'm going to be that bad.
What
but it is going to be
the American Airlines Center?
Yeah, American Airlines Arena because the American Airlines Center.
Kaseya Center, American Airlines Arena.
I believe so.
Yeah,
I think that's right. But anyway, yeah. So CFFC 130 UFC time. Did want to make a quick mention. It's a big story. Bloody Elbow shutting down.
Oh,
don't have all the details yet, so I don't want to speak too much on it.
Yeah.
I guess first and foremost, just the one thing I want to say is it sucks for everybody involved, man, because losing your job in this environment right now is not cool and not fun. And I know, for a lot of people, they rub people the wrong way. You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't like the way that they chose the coverage. Their adversarial position on most stances. And so that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But it's just for everybody involved. I mean, no matter what you thought about their coverage, I don't think. How could you wish somebody to lose their job? It makes you a pretty shitty human being if you do. So I feel bad for him. We haven't heard from Nate Wilcox much about what the decision-making process was. To be honest with you, I never really had that many interactions with Nate over the years, so I don't really know him that well, if at all. I think we've met maybe a couple times, and that's about it. I will say even not knowing the guy, I can't imagine he took the decision lightly. I mean, these guys tried to do it on their own. They tried to do it independently. It is hard. I mean, media conglomerates and corporations are struggling to make money right now, and they have access to all kinds of resources. To do it on your own is incredibly difficult and a huge undertaking. And so, you got to commend them for at least making the effort. I can't imagine he made the decision to sell the company lightly. I imagine it probably weighed on him, but I mean, who knows what the financial situation was for himself and his family and everybody else. So I think you have to remember that, it probably wasn't one they took lightly. As far as, the future of and what happens to all that content, I think that is a big blow that all that content kind of went away.
Or at least seemingly. I know a lot of people were talking about like bookmarks didn't work and things weren't working like it used to. But when I went to the Bloody Elbow, granted, I don't know the particular
exact
stories and stuff, but when I did some searches just roughly on what people were complaining, I saw some articles coming up from some of the people. So I wonder if it was just a matter of when the new organization took it, the original link takes a different route to get to the site. Just like when Junkie redid itself, MMA Junkie now is like mmajunkie.usatoday.com. Like all the stories are there, but there was a moment where any of the old bookmarks wouldn't work.
True.
So maybe it was a matter of, as the site was sort of positioning itself or something. Hopefully you would think that the stuff would be there in some form. If not, that's really sort of shady because, they put the Grave Media, their GRV media. Maybe it's GRV. I just saw somebody said added to the A and the E because of what they were doing, the Bloody Elbow. They're calling it Grave Media.
Oh, that's terrible.
That you could actually, they have like this ethic thing where they said they didn't want to, they wanted to do all the right things with journalism. They didn't want to be adversarial. They didn't want to be blah, 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 something. But regardless of that, Bloody Elbow was great at doing these things. So just like you said, maybe they pissed some people off, but they were great at doing that stuff. So, I always felt like when people are like, why don't you do like them? I'm like, well, because that's their thing. They do it. Why am I going to copy what they do? They do it so well. Like, I'm not – well, one, I always said, like, I'm not trying to be out there and I'll never call myself a journalist, do this. I'm a videographer, for Pete's sake, a video producer. I might add some question, but half the time I'm getting through the whatever. I'm not out there trying to get the hard hitting whatever. Like, there's journalists out there doing it, and Bloody Elbow was a great example of a grouping of these journalists that got together that would ask those tough questions, and it kind of became their thing.
Yep.
Became the niche. So it was almost like people were hating on them because they chose to do what others didn't want to do. But I guess on the flip side, just because you chose to go that route, you can't expect everybody else to kind of
100%.
do it. You kind of cornered that market,
Yep.
and that's what became your style. But that's not for everybody.
Right. But they did a great job at it, man.
They did a wonderful job. And they're very, very talented people.
Yeah.
I reached out to a couple of them and tried to push some of them towards, like, Ngannou. I was like, here's openings, it might not be with, like, Junkie, but I was like, you're too good of a writer to not be writing. So if there's ever anything I could try to do. But I try to do that with anybody that's in this field that I've met. If I can point you towards something, or if I can even put a referral in or something, I'm more than happy to do it. So I hope they land on their feet somewhere. I mean, there's definitely a need.
Man.
But it would suck if some of the old stories where they really, like, dived into some things, like they said, their YouTube's going to say the same.
Right.
I think their Reddit Substack's going to still be theirs or whatever. You would hope that all that work that they did shining light on something wouldn't be just gone to the void.
It is weird. And listen, I don't know why a company would buy it to do that. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
100%.
Like, I don't understand.
Like, why did you
strategy.
buy them? Did you just buy them for the name? You didn't care about the substance?
Yeah, it doesn't
like,
make
bro,
sense.
I can sell you. I have a couple of domain names. That you want to buy some domain names? I got some domain names. Like, if you don't care about the substance, bro, I got some domain names.
I don't understand that strategy at all. I will say, I saw Nate Wilcox tweeted out the other day. He said, I'm doing my best to make sure the team is fully paid for the work they did. That's number one, and we're almost there. But he said, number two is caring for the legacy of the work. Stay tuned for that. I may be reading into that. It says caring for the legacy of the work. I'm assuming
making sure they don't kill the archives of all
that's
this stuff.
That's what I read into that. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. That he's finding a way to archive that stuff, that it was backed up somewhere.
That would be good. I mean, but honestly, like, if you're bought, you're their property now. It's their right to dump everything.
Yes.
You lose that right to say, don't get rid of the shit when you bought it. Like, you sell the car to somebody, can you say, hey, don't ever repaint it.
It's my car.
Don't ever fix it.
I can
like,
rip
it's
the seats
mine.
out.
I can rip the seats out. I could put a new shifter in there.
Yeah.
I could do all the stuff. I just hope that that team that followed after the break with SB Nation and everything, and that were diehard to try to keep it alive, didn't have the rug pulled out from under them.
Yeah.
Like, I get what Nate had to do if it was tough decisions. I get it. I would just hope, and I don't feel like I've seen anybody saying, like, oh,
I think they're all disappointed, but I haven't seen anybody feel like they got done wrong.
Like, stuck in the back, like a knife in the back or anything, because I felt like they all were like, we're going to keep this afloat. We're going to keep this afloat. And all of a sudden, oh, wait. Where's it at? So hopefully that there was at least some talks that happened, out of respect to the people that were trying to keep it alive with them. But like you said, when decisions come down to, financial things and compare, trying to provide for a family at some point, that's the main. That's what
I imagine. Like, I'm thinking about myself if I'm in Nate's position and I'm dumping my own personal resources into trying to make this work, but in the meantime, my family's struggling to pay the bills. Like, sorry, dude, I got to sell the brand. You know what I mean? And I don't know that that's the case at all. But I'm just imagining myself in that position. So, anyway, I've kind of hated to see, like, some of the dancing on the grave that I've seen. I don't like that. And I will say this, that it's less jobs in the space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know why people are shitting on them, like, thinking this like is a really good thing. Like, I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, how could anything that they had done piss you off that bad that you would just be dancing with joy on people losing their jobs? Like,
in the famous words of Dana White, if you don't like it, don't watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's that easy.
If you don't like what they were writing,
so I never go to that website.
Don't go to the site. Like,
but to cheer for their demise, like, I just
and
don't
more
get
like
that.
You're doing it from a fucking troll account that's not even a real account. You're not even doing whatever.
Yeah.
You're just POS.
These are people, and these were their jobs, and a lot of them spent many years there. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. My heart goes out to all of them.
It's tough building up something like that. To build it into the namespace of where it was a huge feat. And I mean, like, they should be applauded for it. And nobody should be, regardless if you like what they were writing or not, like to shit on the effort of what it takes to get to where they did is just ridiculous.
Well said.
It's ridiculous.
All right, listen, we got work to do in Miami. I'm going to go out on the balcony for the rest of this day. I'm freezing. I've made it long enough.
We'll go get lunch. We'll warm up. I'll put some shirts on. I'll put the guns away.
Need some of that Florida coffee or something, man. It's cold out here.
Ooh, coffee sounds good.
Let's go do that. All right, I'll be at the press conference, CFFC 130 on Friday, so make sure you tune into that on UFC Fight Pass. Then I'll be at Cage Side on UFC 299. I will record the and-a-half episode, probably right there from the bowels of the old American Airlines Arena, since I don't know what the name of it is. Looking forward to the card. This is one I do not think you're going to want to miss. We appreciate you supporting us as always. Rate us, review us if you can. All that good stuff. Patreon.com/MMA Roadshow. More than anything, thanks for listening.